What's up, Ryan Haywood? I'm so glad you're here with me. This session is called Master the Real Estate Game. It's a DealMachine Academy preview. And DealMachine Academy is an event that we're hosting for the second time this April 19th and 20th at DealMachine headquarters in Indianapolis, Indiana. And it's for investors who are doing at least $100,000 from wholesaling in the last year, which you've certainly exceeded. And the style of the event is just going to be limited to 15 investors, Ryan.
Okay.
And so a big portion of the event is going to be hot seats, where you give your actual, background of yourself and your business, something that you've accomplished that you're really proud of, and then what you need help with. And the group kind of chimes in real time to tear it down. So it's not published because people are going to be talking about some real problems that are going to help them get unstuck. And you've been a belt winner at one of my favorite masterminds. So this is kind of a mastermind event, right? But we're members of the Collective Genius, which is a different type of event, but similar style. So I wanted to ask you, Ryan, after doing almost 400 deals, have you crested that, by the way?
What, 400?
Yes.
We're like 380. We're getting really close.
We need to celebrate when you hit 400, man.
Dude, I know. We will for sure. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to celebrate in some form.
So what I wanted you to talk about was you haven't been a DealMachine Academy, but you've had mastermind experience. So It seems like from the outside, you really know what you're doing. Why do you pay to be a member of a mastermind?
I look at it a couple different ways. For me, I don't have any college background, so I had no college tuition.
What? I did not even know that.
Yeah, no, I did start college, but I lost interest in it fairly quickly. So to me, I look at it like, well, this is the cost of education for what I wanted to do. So really, my schooling, I got to fall into a career path that I want, and then back it up with schooling by joining a mastermind. So the other way I look at it is, if I want to continue to stay on top of my game and grow, then I have to be able to learn from the top of the top. I have to be able to see what other people are doing and continue to evolve my own experiences and my own business so that I can stay at the top of my game and continue to grow too. So you do that by surrounding yourself with people that are ahead of you. And so that's Collective Genius has done that for me. Is it put me in a room full of people that were exceeding everything that I could even potentially think about doing.
Amazing.
Grown our business quite a bit.
I totally agree with you. As somebody who is now onto my really like first business that's had real success, is once you start making some money, it feels weird to speak to the people I've previously relied on for guidance, or not to complain, but just to actually like get advice. Because if they're like, hey, instead of $100,000, I'm making $50,000 a month, a lot of the people I, grew up with aren't going to be very sympathetic to that, right? Let alone have good advice. And so it can start to get lonely. And so one of the reasons why I wanted to put this event on was I went to an event very similarly, and it got me out of a rut mentally to be around people that could understand some of the problems I was having and also be inspired by what they were accomplishing.
Yeah. Yeah. When I got into CG, the conversation that started down that path was actually, I was talking to somebody from DealMachine, and I had mentioned I felt like I was on a little bit of a lonely island. I didn't have anybody around me that was doing anything the same level as me, or anything of the same success as me. And you need people to share the success with, but being able to bounce off ideas on things that are going in your head. Is this a good deal, or is this shiny object? What could I do better here? I had nobody here that I could share that with, and I'd mentioned that, and you guys are the reason that I got into Collective Genius, because it was like, well, we're actually at this event. Let me see if this would be something you'd be interested in. And it worked out really well.
Amazing.
So certainly the value for putting yourself in a room full of people that are doing something bigger and better than you is what you need to really find.
Yep. And what would you, so, I mean, what does collective genius cost, by the way? A lot of these masterminds for people at a high level, they're not cheap, right? And I guess my whole point in asking is, you know, DealMachine Academy is costing $3,000. And it's really meant for people who obviously are in the DealMachine community that we definitely want to build a relationship with, get out from behind the computer and actually hear about the problems and help them solve those. The cost of $3,000 is so cheap.
Right.
Like masterminds like Collective Genius cost as much as $30,000 a year, and they meet 4 times a year. Okay. So it's a little bit different. DealMachine Academy is meant to just be like one time event. It's not like a sequence that you keep coming back to. I expect the people at this academy will be different largely than the people who came to last academy. But I just wanted to mention that. How did you justify the cost of previous masterminds that you've joined?
So to me, you look at who's in the room too. Like you kind of had an idea. I could look at who was already a member of Collective Genius. Notably, like there were some names like Steve Trang.
Yeah.
That I'm like, oh man, Tom Kroll. Oh, if they're in Collective Genius, then there's value there. Like I could see the potential of what could be just by seeing who's in that room.
Yep.
So that's kind of how I based, is the value going to be good enough? I could see that it was going to be good enough based on who was going to be there and who was going to be giving, feedback and doing presentations. So also I kind of like, seeing, sometimes I like to see how big it is. If it's too big, too many, then what I always feel like is you're gonna get there. You're gonna find like 3 people in a room of 400, and maybe you'll walk away like, man, I wish I would have gotten to know that person or this person. I think intimate settings, intimate masterminds where there's a low number of people gives you a greater opportunity to learn from a smaller group of people. So that's my thought.
Love it. And can you also break down what is a hot seat presentation? Because that is the main focus that we'll be doing at DealMachine Academy.
Yeah. Hot seat is your opportunity to give and get. So the purpose of the hot seat is to give everybody an overview of what you're doing, in the hopes that what you're doing can show someone or give someone an idea on how they can either implement that or make what they're doing better. So you say, for me, it's my very first presentation at Collective Genius. I did my presentation on DealMachine. And so I showed everyone in the room how I did 75 transactions my very first year wholesaling, and I did all of it through Driving for Dollars DealMachine. And so that was my give. I gave, this is how I did this. But it was also the opportunity to ask, this is what I need help with. I need to figure out how to get to this level. I need to figure out how to get my finances in check. I need to know how to grow the business beyond just Driving for Dollars or beyond just one lead source. So there's many different opportunities for asks, but when you're in, like I said, you're in a room full of people that you ask that question, they're going to have that answer for you.
Absolutely. And it's wild to see what other people are experiencing as problems and to see others in the room debug that and work through solving it in real time. There's just nothing else like it because it's so personal sometimes.
Yeah.
It's so personal sometimes you won't see it on a webinar or a pre-designed lecture.
Yeah. Sometimes they see things that you don't even see yourself. You're doing a presentation and somebody's going to ask a challenging question that might feel uncomfortable, but you're like, that's exactly what I needed to have happen right there. I'm sure you've heard the CG slap. The reference being somebody pointing out something that you're doing that really needs some attention, and that's the CG slap. You go there, you think, oh, I'm doing really awesome. And then you get slapped across the face like, dang it, I really dropped the ball on that part.
Right.
I look forward to the opportunity to get slapped in the face with something I can do better.
Oh,
That,
100%.
that is what I'm looking for. When I go there, I'm like, I am ready for the CG slap. I'm ready for somebody to say, dude, you have got to fix this piece right here, because that's how you get better.
Right. I will say that last year, we had somebody in the room that did 800,000 in transactions the last year, and they talked about how they love going driving for dollars in their truck. And while that's always great, at that level, he got slapped because he should be hiring somebody to do that for $20 an hour so he can focus on higher level activities.
Yep.
And so that was an opportunity that for somebody to that seemingly was doing very, very well, but couldn't get past the next level. And so that was an example of a slap. And so one of the things, and I appreciate that you brought up, you talked about DealMachine in your hot seat presentation. At DealMachine Academy, even though we're hosting the event, you absolutely do not have to present about DealMachine. I will say last year, probably the top 3 winners of biggest gives was Steve Richards, who's done 1,300 deals in Indianapolis, Indiana. He talked about how he hired a CEO to take over his business and him not be in the day-to-day of his business anymore. And
Wow.
Paul Myers, who had done $1 million, or was on track, I think, to do $1 million in wholesaling fees in Augusta, Georgia. He actually talked about how he's getting referrals from real estate agents at no cost at all.
Nice.
And then also Corey Boatwright, who has done a lot of deals. I don't have the exact figure in my head, but he does all of his deals virtually. And so that was mind-blowing for some people in the room that were having trouble in some higher priced markets, that they could do deals virtually. And so those, I would say, last year were some of the top 3 gives. And I just wanted to share those because you don't have to just talk about DealMachine. It's just about your business overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if any of you guys listening are interested in joining me and Ryan at DealMachine Academy, please just hit me up in the comments of one of these videos, or you can go to DealMachine Academy. Actually, it's dealmachine.com/academy. So let me put that down. DealMachine.com/academy. It is open for your application. And the only requirement is that you've done $100,000 in your real estate business in the last year. This event, I think if you've done less than that, you wouldn't get a lot out of it. And I wouldn't want to take $3,000 from you, knowing that that's probably not the best use of your money. But if you're over the $100,000 mark and you're wanting to get to the next level, I think being at this event with Ryan Haywood, Steve Richards is coming back, by the way.
Nice.
And 15 others that are going to be at your level and or above your level, I think is definitely, in my experience, the next step to getting you to the next level. And I would love to talk with you. Sometimes, let me say this, if you're at $100,000 and you don't feel like you've got the perfect, like Ryan, have you ever gone into a mastermind meeting and you felt like you didn't have the perfect give? You weren't really sure what to give?
The funniest thing about the gives that are the one that I felt like was the best one I did not win the belt with. It was the 2 presentations that I did that I'm just like, I don't even feel like this is going to be as helpful as it should be. Ended up being the most helpful thing. So
Hilarious.
What is important or valuable to you could be life-changing to someone else in that room. You really never know.
One of the best gives is the unique story about why you got into real estate investing and how you did it. Everyone has taken a slightly different path, and hearing that story itself could be your give if you can't think of a groundbreaking technique that you've figured out. And I'll just say that it sparks a lot of question and interest. People see similarities. It makes them understand themselves better. So if all you do is that, and then you ask for help, you're going to get a ton of value, and it's also going to bring a lot of people value. Ryan, I know you've got a business to run. What do you got going the rest of the day?
Actually going, so we just finished up a property last week for my best friend. Actually got his very first rental property, and we assigned it to him, but we also did the renovation for him. And I'm going to do the walkthrough with his new property manager to make sure that what the job that we did is going to be of standard. And then a couple months ago, we bought a property that had a trampoline.
Oh, wow.
And it was just in the box, like it had not been assembled. But last night I assembled the trampoline, so I'm going to go home and give it a good old test with the kids.
I love that you're incorporating fun into your work grind.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's awesome. That's honestly a topic I've heard come up, by the way. So if you guys are interested at all in DealMachine Academy, hit up the URL below to see what's there. There's a nice video that shows who came last year and what they took away from the event. You can apply and schedule a call with me. And Ryan, I'm really looking forward to spending some time with you. And I appreciate you taking 15 minutes out of your day to do this live video.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing everyone there. Be a good time.
All right. See you, Ryan.
See you later.